Once upon a time, on the beautiful islands of Hawaii, a little boy was born. His name was Barack Obama. This was not just any boy, and his story was not just any story. He was born on August 4, 1961 in Honolulu, a place where the sun shines bright and the ocean waves sing a peaceful song. His mother, Ann Dunham, was a kind and smart woman from Kansas, and his father, Barack Obama Sr., was a determined student from Kenya in Africa. They came from very different worlds, but they found love in this island paradise. This mix of cultures of black and white, of America and Africa, was the first gift the world gave to young Barack. It taught him that people are more alike than they are different, and that love knows no boundaries. His early years were like a beautiful tapestry woven from many different threads. He spent some of his childhood in Indonesia after his mother remarried. There, he learned a new language and saw a different way of life. He played with children in the villages, tasted new foods, and heard stories that were very different from the ones he knew. This experience opened his eyes and his heart. He learned to see the world, not just as an American, but as a citizen of the world. He understood that every person, no matter where they come from, has a story worth hearing and a dream worth chasing. This understanding of different cultures would become one of his greatest strengths, a foundation for the leader he was destined to become. Returning to Hawaii to live with his grandparents, he continued to navigate a world of diversity. He was often one of the few black children in his school, which sometimes made him feel like he didn't quite fit in anywhere. He had to figure out who he was, what it meant to be black in a world that often saw things in simple terms of black and white. These were not easy questions for a young boy to answer, but these challenges made him stronger. They forced him to look deep inside himself and find his own identity, one that wasn't defined by others but by his own heart and mind. He learned to be a bridge between different worlds, a person who could understand and connect with everyone. This incredible childhood filled with sunshine, different languages, and deep questions shaped the man Barack Obama would become. It gave him a special kind of wisdom, a deep empathy for people from all walks of life. He learned that our differences are not something to be afraid of, they are something to be celebrated. This belief, born in the warm breezes of Hawaii and the bustling streets of Indonesia, would guide him throughout his entire life. It was the beginning of a journey that would take him from those quiet islands all the way to the most powerful office in the world, carrying with him the spirit of unity he learned as a boy. Education was the key that unlocked the door to Barack Obama's future. His mother believed deeply in the power of learning. She would wake him up early in the morning, even before the sun rose, to teach him lessons. She knew that a good education would give him the tools he needed to build his own destiny. In Hawaii, he earned a scholarship to a prestigious school called Punahou School. There, surrounded by students from many different backgrounds, he excelled. He was not just a good student, he was curious about the world. He played basketball, made friends, and started to think seriously about the big questions of justice, equality, and his place in society. His time at Punahou sharpened his mind and expanded his horizons. After high school, his quest for knowledge took him across the ocean to the mainland United States. He first attended Occidental College in Los Angeles before transferring to the renowned Columbia University in New York City. There, he studied political science, diving deep into the workings of governments and the history of nations. He was a serious student, spending long hours in the library, reading and thinking. New York City, with its endless energy and diversity, was a classroom in itself. It was here that he truly began to understand the complex challenges facing America and the world. He graduated with a degree in 1983, armed with knowledge and a growing desire to make a real difference in people's lives. But his educational journey was not over yet. After working for a few years, he knew he needed more skills to create the change he wanted to see. He set his sights on the most famous law school in the country, Harvard Law School. Getting in was a huge achievement, but what he did there was even more remarkable. He impressed his professors and fellow students with his brilliant mind and his ability to listen and bring people together. He didn't just argue to win, he argued to understand. This special quality led to a historic moment. In 1990, his classmates elected him as the president of the Harvard Law Review, one of the most prestigious legal journals in the world. He was the first African American to ever hold that position. This achievement was a sign of things to come. It showed that Barack Obama was a natural leader, someone who could earn the respect of others through his intelligence, hard work, and fairness. His time at Harvard was more than just about learning the law, it was about learning how to lead. It proved that he could break down old barriers and rise to the highest levels based on his own merit. He graduated from Harvard with honors in 1991, not just with a law degree, but with a powerful new sense of purpose. He was ready to take everything he had learned and use it to serve others, to fight for justice, and to start building a better world. After graduating from the heights of Harvard Law School, Barack Obama could have chosen any high-paying job at a powerful law firm. He could have pursued a life of wealth and comfort, but his heart called him in a different direction. He was drawn to the city of Chicago, a place of great energy, but also a place with deep-seated problems. He wanted to work directly with people who were struggling, to help them find their own power and improve their communities. He became a community organizer on the south side of Chicago, working with churches and local leaders. He helped people fight for better schools, cleaner parks, and safer streets. It was hard work for very little pay, but it was incredibly rewarding. This experience taught him one of the most important lessons of his life, that real change doesn't come from the top down, but from the bottom up. It comes when ordinary people stand together, speak with one voice, and demand a better future for their children. He learned to listen to people's stories, to understand their hopes and their fears. He saw firsthand the struggles of families trying to make ends meet, and the quiet dignity of people facing hardship. This work connected him to the heartbeat of America in a profound way. It was here, on the streets of Chicago, that his political ideals were forged not in theory, but in the real lives of the people he served. During this time, he also took a journey into his own past. He wrote a beautiful and honest memoir called Dreams from My Father. In this book, he explored his unique family history, his multicultural background, and his search for identity. He wrote about his father from Kenya, whom he barely knew, and his loving mother from Kansas. He shared his feelings of being caught between two worlds, and his struggle to understand what it meant to be a black man in America. The book was not just a personal story. It was a reflection on race, family, and the things that connect us all. It revealed his thoughtful nature and his gift for storytelling, allowing people to see the man behind the future politician. His commitment to service continued as he became a professor at the University of Chicago Law School, teaching constitutional law. He was known as a gifted and inspiring teacher who challenged his students to think critically about justice and fairness. At the same time, he worked as a civil rights attorney, fighting against discrimination and defending the rights of those who had been treated unfairly. This combination of teaching, writing, and legal work showed the many sides of Barack Obama. He was a thinker and a doer, a man of ideas and a man of action. He was building a foundation of experience and integrity, preparing himself for the next chapter of his incredible journey. Barack Obama's journey into public office began at the local level, in the heart of the community he had come to love. In 1996, he decided to run for the Illinois State Senate, representing the south side of Chicago. He believed that by working within the political system, he could bring about even greater change for the families he had served as a community organizer. He spent 8 years as a state senator, learning the art of politics. He was known for his ability to work with both Democrats and Republicans, to find common ground and pass meaningful laws. He passed ethics reforms to make government more honest, and expanded health care for children and families who couldn't afford it. It was here that he honed his skills as a lawmaker and a leader. In 2004, he set his sights on a bigger stage, the United States Senate. He knew it would be a difficult race, but he believed his message of unity and common purpose could resonate with people all across the state of Illinois. He traveled from the big city of Chicago to the small farming towns, listening to everyone's concerns. He talked about bringing people together, not dividing them. His optimism and fresh perspective captured the imagination of voters, and he won the election by a landslide. This victory made him one of the few African Americans to ever serve in the United States Senate, and it signaled that a new kind of leader was emerging on the national scene. But it was one single speech that truly introduced Barack Obama to the entire nation and the world. In the summer of 2004, he was chosen to give the keynote address at the Democratic National Convention. He was a relatively unknown state senator at the time, but on that night he delivered a speech that would change his life forever. He spoke with passion and eloquence about his own story, as a symbol of the American dream. He rejected the idea that America was divided into red states for Republicans and blue states for Democrats. He declared, "There is not a liberal America and a conservative America, there is the United States of America." His words soared through the convention hall and into the living rooms of millions. That speech electrified the country. People were captivated by his message of hope and his vision of a more unified nation. He spoke of the audacity of hope, the belief that we could overcome our divisions and solve our common problems together. Overnight, Barack Obama went from being a promising politician from Illinois to a national sensation. People saw in him not just a gifted speaker, but a leader who could inspire a new generation and heal a divided country. This one speech set the stage for what was to come. It was the moment America first heard the voice that would soon ask them to believe in change and to say, "Yes, we can." After his star-making speech in 2004, the idea of Barack Obama running for president began to grow from a whisper to a roar. In 2007, standing in front of the old state capitol in Springfield, Illinois, where Abraham Lincoln had once stood, he officially announced his candidacy for President of the United States. He knew it was a long shot. He was a young first-term senator with an unusual name and a background that was different from any president before him. But he believed the country was ready for a new chapter. He launched his campaign not with a promise of easy answers, but with a call to action, asking Americans to join him in the hard work of changing the country for the better. His campaign was powered by an unforgettable and simple message: "Yes, we can." This slogan was more than just words, it was a feeling of empowerment. It was a belief that ordinary people could do extraordinary things when they came together. The campaign itself was a movement. It used the power of the internet to organize millions of volunteers and raise money from small donations, changing the way political campaigns were run forever. Young people who had often felt disconnected from politics were energized by his message of hope and change. They organized rallies, made phone calls, and knocked on doors, creating a grassroots army that spread across the nation with incredible passion and energy. Throughout the long campaign, Barack Obama faced tough challenges and questions about his experience and his background, but he met every challenge with grace and intelligence. When questions about race threatened to divide the country, he delivered a landmark speech on the topic, asking for understanding and a more perfect union. He spoke about the need to move beyond our old racial wounds and find common ground in our shared aspirations. His message of unity was powerful and consistent. He didn't just talk about bringing people together, he demonstrated it in the way he ran his campaign, building a broad coalition of voters from every race, age, and background. On November 4, 2008, the world watched as Americans went to the polls in record numbers. That night, the results came in, and history was made. Barack Obama was elected the 44th President of the United States, becoming the first African American to ever hold the nation's highest office. In Grant Park in Chicago, a massive, joyful crowd gathered to hear his victory speech. He spoke not of his own victory, but of theirs. "This is your victory," he told them. It was a moment of incredible hope and celebration, not just for America, but for people all over the world. It was proof that barriers could be broken, that dreams could be achieved, and that indeed, yes, we can. When President Barack Obama took the oath of office on January 20, 2009, he inherited a nation in crisis. The economy was in a free-fall, with millions of Americans losing their jobs, their homes, and their savings. 2 wars were being fought overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan. The country was anxious and uncertain about the future. From his very first day in the White House, President Obama had to make difficult decisions to steer the country back from the brink. He signed into law a massive economic recovery plan designed to save jobs, help businesses, and invest in America's future through projects in infrastructure, clean energy, and education. It was a bold and necessary step to stop the bleeding and begin the slow process of healing. One of his biggest and most ambitious goals was to reform America's healthcare system. For decades, millions of people had lived without health insurance, just one illness away from financial ruin. President Obama believed that healthcare was not a privilege, but a right. After a long and difficult political battle, he signed the Affordable Care Act, also known as the ACA, into law in 2010. This landmark legislation, often called Obamacare, made it illegal for insurance companies to deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions, allowed young adults to stay on their parents' insurance until age 26, and provided financial help to make insurance more affordable for millions of families. It was one of the most significant social reforms in generations. On the world stage, President Obama worked to repair relationships with other countries and restore America's standing as a respected global leader. He believed in diplomacy and cooperation, in talking to both our friends and our adversaries. For his efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and encourage peace, he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 2009, a stunning recognition early in his presidency. But he also showed that he was a decisive commander-in-chief. In May 2011, he authorized a secret, high-risk mission that resulted in bringing Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, to justice. This moment brought a sense of closure and relief to a nation still healing from that terrible day. Throughout his first term, President Obama led with a calm and steady hand. He faced constant opposition and challenges, but he remained focused on the promises he had made to the American people. He ended the war in Iraq, bringing thousands of troops home to their families. He oversaw the rescue of the American auto industry, saving countless jobs. He appointed the first Hispanic Supreme Court Justice, Sonia Sotomayor, making the nation's highest court more reflective of the country it serves. His first 4 years in office were defined by a relentless effort to tackle huge problems, to rebuild the nation's confidence, and to lay a new foundation for a stronger, more secure American future. After winning re-election in 2012, President Obama began his second term with a renewed sense of purpose, but also facing a new set of complex challenges both at home and abroad. With a divided Congress, passing major legislation became even more difficult. Political gridlock in Washington often stood in the way of progress. Despite these obstacles, he remained determined to use his executive authority and the power of his office to move the country forward. He focused on issues that he believed were critical for the nation's long-term future, even if the political path was hard. He continued to fight for economic fairness, advocating for policies that would help the middle class and reduce income inequality. One of the defining issues of his second term was the urgent threat of climate change. President Obama called it one of the greatest challenges of our time, and took significant steps to address it. He implemented new rules to reduce pollution from power plants, invested heavily in clean energy like solar and wind power, and encouraged higher fuel efficiency standards for cars and trucks. His leadership was crucial on the global stage as well. In 2015, he played a key role in bringing nearly 200 nations together to sign the historic Paris Agreement on climate change, a landmark global commitment to reducing carbon emissions and working together to protect the planet for future generations. In foreign policy, President Obama continued to champion diplomacy and engagement. He achieved a major diplomatic breakthrough with Iran, negotiating a deal that prevented the country from developing a nuclear weapon in exchange for lifting economic sanctions. This was a complex and controversial agreement, but he believed it was the best way to avoid another war in the Middle East. He also took the historic step of restoring diplomatic relations with Cuba after more than 50 years of hostility, opening up a new chapter of engagement with the island nation. However, his second term was also marked by persistent international crises, including the devastating civil war in Syria and the rise of the terrorist group ISIS, which presented new and difficult security threats. Even as he faced these global and domestic challenges, President Obama never lost his focus on the fundamental American values of equality and justice. He became a powerful voice for marriage equality, and during his term, the Supreme Court made same-sex marriage legal in all 50 states, a landmark victory for civil rights. He also launched initiatives like My Brother's Keeper to create opportunities for young men of color. His second term was a testament to his resilience and his unwavering belief in progress. He navigated a complex world with thoughtfulness and a long-term vision, always pushing America to live up to its highest ideals, even in the face of division and difficulty. Throughout his 8 years in the White House, Barack Obama was not just a president, he was also a husband and a father. The American people and the world came to admire the Obama family for their grace, their warmth, and their strong bond. His wife, Michelle Obama, was a powerful and inspiring First Lady. A brilliant lawyer and a dedicated public servant in her own right, she redefined the role with her own initiatives. She launched the Let's Move campaign to fight childhood obesity and promote healthy lifestyles. She also championed support for military families and encouraged young people to pursue higher education. Michelle Obama became a beloved role model, admired for her intelligence, style, and down-to-earth personality. The world also watched their two daughters, Malia and Sasha, grow up before our very eyes. They arrived at the White House as young girls and left as confident young women. President Obama and the First Lady worked hard to give them as normal a childhood as possible, despite the extraordinary circumstances. They made sure to have dinner together as a family almost every night, helping with homework and talking about their days. The president often spoke lovingly about his daughters, sharing funny stories and expressing his pride in them. Seeing him as a devoted first dad made him more relatable to millions of families across the country, and showed the importance he placed on his most important job: being a father. The Obama family brought a sense of joy and vibrancy to the White House. They were often seen laughing together, and they even brought a new puppy, Bo, into the family, delighting the public. Their public image was one of authenticity and love. They represented a modern American family, navigating the pressures of public life with poise and unity. Their deep respect and affection for one another were always evident, whether at formal state dinners or casual public events. They showed the world that it was possible to hold the highest office in the land while maintaining a strong, loving, and grounded family life. This was a powerful message in itself. Their presence in the White House was historic and deeply meaningful. As the first African-American first family, they were a powerful symbol of progress and possibility. They carried this responsibility with incredible dignity, becoming a source of pride and inspiration for millions, particularly for people of color who saw their own families reflected in the White House for the very first time. The love and strength of the Obama family were an essential part of the Obama presidency. They were not just living in the White House, they were making it a home, and in doing so they captured the hearts of a nation and the world. When Barack Obama left the White House in January 2017, his work was far from over. He and Michelle started the Obama Foundation, a new organization based in Chicago, the city where his public service began. The foundation's mission is to inspire, empower, and connect the next generation of leaders all around the world. It is not just about looking back at his presidency, but about looking forward to the future. The foundation is building the Obama Presidential Center, which will be a place for community gathering, learning, and action. It is his way of passing the torch, of giving young people the tools and the encouragement they need to tackle the great challenges of our time and change the world for the better. As a former president, he has also returned to his love of writing. He wrote a deeply personal and detailed memoir of his time in office titled A Promised Land. In the book, he shares the incredible pressures and the momentous decisions of his presidency, giving readers an inside look at the loneliness of leadership and the weight of the world's problems. But he also writes about the moments of hope and the people who inspired him along the way. Through his writing and his speeches, he continues to be a powerful voice for democracy, reason, and compassion. He travels the world, meeting with young leaders and advocating for the causes he has always believed in. His legacy is about so much more than the laws he passed or the policies he enacted. His very presence on the world stage broke down one of the most significant barriers in American history. For millions of people, especially children of color, he changed the very idea of what is possible. Seeing a black man become president of the United States sent a powerful message. Your dreams are valid, your potential is limitless, and you belong in every room where decisions are made. This inspiration is perhaps his most lasting and profound contribution. He expanded the American dream to include everyone, making the promise of America feel more real for more people. The hope he ignited in 2008 has not faded. His famous phrase, "Yes, we can," continues to echo as a call for optimism and collective action. It reminds us that progress is possible even when it is slow and difficult. It reminds us that our voices matter and that we have the power to shape our own destiny. Barack Obama's journey from a boy in Hawaii to the leader of the free world is a testament to the power of hope, the importance of service, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. His story continues to inspire people everywhere to believe in a better future and to work together to build it.